sun is numb, the Keurig's clean, your dog is dead, it's a Ponzi Scream. Ponzi Scream, Ponzi Scream, because it's just something to do.
It was oh my God, it was so windy out today. It fucking sucks. I hate the wind so goddamn much.
Yeah, because it looked nice, right? The sun was out. The sun is just poking through the curtains saying, come on out and frolic, Gabe.
Oh, let me tell
Same
you
thing to me,
something.
too.
I was in both of your neck of the woods on Saturday and Sunday, and when it was 70, 75-ish degrees outside. And let me tell you right now, just give up. Give up give up, all right?
What do you mean?
Give up. Everybody was outside. Give up.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Everybody was out.
Oh, yeah.
Now, they were all wearing masks. I will tell you that right now. I would say 90% of people were wearing masks. Was there the occasional person who was down on their luck who looked a little shabby and had one sort of like hanging under their jowl? Like, was that? Yeah, that was happening a little bit too.
Some
But,
Beckys and some Chads.
I mean, yeah, but dude, people were fucking out, and I don't know if it's I don't know. I kind of like it because it's just like, oh yeah, we're either just fucked or we're not, you know?
Right. And there were no Officer Garcias open hand slapping people in the face for not wearing a mask or or putting their knees on their necks like you'd find in the East Village, where plainclothes cops are out there terrorizing homeless people and not even homeless people, just normal residents of the projects down there.
Now,
Jesus.
is this an actual story?
Yeah.
Or is this just okay? This is an actual story. So like so the NYPD, famous.
Some dude who looked like Jesus from no, I guess he looked like Miro. Yeah,
He looked like Miro.
He looked like Miro, and he was harassing a couple people who were like just sitting on the curb, and then another guy who I guess worked for New York City Housing. He he wasn't on duty, but he came up and was videotaping this cop doing this.
What you flexing for? Don't flex. We get lost up too. Look. He ain't even do no. He ain't even do nothing. Look. He ain't even do nothing. He ain't even do nothing.
And the cop's like, why you flexing? Stop flexing. And open hand slaps this guy. And then four other cops rush up on the street, and he's like sitting on his neck and head. And yeah, but it all got
crazy.
videotaped, and none of these cops were wearing masks because
Of
why?
course not.
Why do that?
That's
yeah.
No, that puts a lot of strain on the police academy training program. That's way over their pay grade.
And then there was another on Twitter. There were like four plainclothes cops wearing masks, posing for a Law and Order photograph. And underneath in the tweet, it was like, we just caught a guy jumping the turnstile with a scale and some marijuana. And
that one I did see.
yeah. So to serve and protect, throwing another nonviolent offender into the tombs for the weekend to catch COVID.
I hate that. I have nothing to say. I can't even be like ironically sarcastic about liking that. Like I'm just angry.
Oh no, yeah, no, you love to see it. New York, #1 best city in the world, run by the real estate industry, whose job is to create a police state to keep finance bros feeling safe.
Yo, a couple days ago, I watched the movie Who's Eating Gilbert Grape. You guys ever seen that movie?
No, I haven't seen it since it came out.
What's Eating Gilbert Grape? Yeah. Okay, so What's Eating Gilbert Grape is there was Leonardo DiCaprio, and it was his like first role, like his real breakout role, and he was playing a special needs teenager. And there's this amazing scene where he is like arrested for like climbing the water tower, and he's like, while he's being arrested, he's like, officer, turn on the siren. Run the siren, run the lights, do it. I love the shiny thing. And because he's
no.
And I want to say that to a cop so bad. Like Like while I'm being arrested, how fucking hilarious would be like, officer, just run the cool lights. Just turn on the cool lights. I don't know. Screaming it from I'm in the back of the cop car, like, with handcuffs on, just asking them to blare the siren as loud as they can.
You'd get it in New York City because people don't realize this about here but all of our cop cars have a little bit of bass in their voice.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, like they're not like other municipalities. The other municipalities, the cop cars sound like the ambulances, where it's just the regular woo, woo.
Mm-hmm.
But like here, when the cops blare their sirens, it does that, but it also throws in like a like as the lower register in there. And everybody on YouTube, whenever they see the NYPD, they're like, damn, those are aggressive cars just on their face. Yeah, that's everybody always forgets that about the NYPD, though. It's just like, who is in charge of the NYPD is
Jews.
New York. Well, is New Yorkers. And a group of people famous for their indignity. Wasn't it one of you guys who said that the NYPD pays out $500 million in lawsuits a year just in those by those parameters by getting sued?
They love getting sued. Garcia, this particular cop, already has a huge. He's cost the taxpayer a ton of money in legal suits.
Oh yeah,
he's already been sued. The civil suits have come out against the NYPD for his actions in the past.
Yeah, that's and they're all. It's just so funny. It's just like we've all like had a friend who's just too aggro, and we just know, like that guy who's just like, dude, I can't drink tequila. I can't drink tequila, dude. I can't. And you just know after a certain point of time, you just don't bring them out to drink tequila when you go outside. All right, like. You don't have to. You can sort of silently acknowledge that he's not. You like soft fire him as far as a tequila drinker. That's all the NYPD has to do. Just like, yeah, no, Officer Garcia, he just punches the mail now. Like, that's how he get.
Well, you know what we do? We put him on officer friendly duty. It's like, okay, you like to go out there and tase people and act like you're a hero. We're just gonna have you interact with children for the rest of your career, because that would be. That would probably be the worst fate for him. Like, he likes jumping out of cars and like harassing people.
Yeah, you can't even put a guy like that on parking duty because he's just gonna shoot somebody. Like,
I have a good assignment for those kinds of cops, and that would be when like suburban people are being overly judgmental of people for like wearing a mask, but not wearing like an appropriate enough mask, and like being 6 feet, not 7 feet apart. I want a cop to be like, their job is to go up to those suburban scolds and be like, calm down, just relax. And that's their whole job. It's just to tell them to calm the fuck down. Because
no. Why are you flexing?
Why are you
flexing? Why are you flexing?
Don't flex.
Please don't flex.
Also, I feel bad for those people because, real talk, I have been eating on these streets lately. Like, I am eating on the ground. There's nowhere for me to sit inside. And then, yes, is it less sanitary? Yeah, probably. But I'm sorry, boys. I've got to eat on the ground now. You will see me in Bushwick,
like,
in the shade. We'll be like eating on the ground.
We'll be like, Danny, we have a plate. Do you want a plate? And Danny's like, no. I have to eat on the ground.
No. I'm not. I have
to
eating
fry an egg
off the ground.
On the ground. I'm sorry.
I'm not eating off of it, but I am sitting. I'm like sitting on like nice shady corners, and I'm eating my food closer to the ground than I normally do.
Are you one of the people who is leaving the water bottles full of urine on the streets?
Dude, I have seen such an uptick in water bottle urine situations.
Right, it's because all the bathrooms are closed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, you can't. In addition to it being illegal to eat, it's impossible to use the restroom in Manhattan now. There's so few places. It is a absolute art pinpointing them.
Where are they? Just name one, and then let's move on. One bathroom.
Essex Market off of Delancey and Essex.
Okay, now name a second one.
the Home Depot on 23rd between 5th and 6th Avenue.
Oh, that's a big Home Depot. That's a good one.
That's like the nicest bathroom in the city secretly.
That's fucking cool to know. I like the Italy bathroom because people think you're shopping there, and then you just kind of.
I've delivered pizzas from Italy. They're little pizzas.
I don't like the food, but the bathroom's nice.
Yeah. Also, they closed the fucking bathroom at Grand Central. You can't use the bathroom at Grand Central Station anymore.
Jesus. What is this?
Also, Penn Station is basically Penn Station is completely hollowed out and only homeless people now. It is entirely just people like kind of wandering around, and it's just like, oh yeah. And I mean that's fine. That's what it is. Like there's nobody traveling, and the people who are unhoused, they have to hang out somewhere, you know?
Like they
That's
could
where
have
are.
turned it into a homeless shelter if they wanted to, the city, but instead it's a de facto homeless shelter.
Yeah, for sure. Penn Station is it's pretty bleak for sure.
Yeah. Beforehand, it was my wedding venue, but now it's a homeless shelter.
Yeah.
Fucked up, man.
Did I tell you about when I first moved to New York City? I was like, oh, I want to check out some of the sites. And I thought I was going to Grand Central Station, but I went to Penn Station instead. Dude, I was like, this is okay. There's lots of things going on here. There's lots of people.
The difference between Godfather 1 and Godfather 3.
Yeah, dude. I was just like, this is weird. And then I went to Grand Central. I was like, oh yeah, here's the fucking atrium or whatever it is. You know, this is the whole thing.
It's like the difference between Toy Story 3 and all other animated films.
I've never seen Toy Story 3.
It's really good. Very, very good.
Well, then you're like a blind man who's never seen color.
Yeah.
You've only seen all of the other animated films, so you don't know how bad your life has been up to this point.
Look, you're like one of those colorblind people on YouTube who puts on the funny glasses for the first time, and then you just watch an old man weep. It's the same reaction every time. As you give Granddad the funny glasses, he sees purple, and then he goes, "Holy fuck!" and then like freaks the fuck out.
I'm down. Yeah, man. Well, I don't think there was any really good segue from this, but
No.
why is it's very strange, I guess. I mean, if we're talking about the ridiculous amounts of poverty that we're all seeing firsthand all the time, why is it that unemployment is at 14%, but everyone is talking about how good the stock market is doing?
Yeah. This is a thing that, much in the same way that Donald Trump can easily connect to the stock market and think about it because it's these numbers. He's like, "Oh, it's good. I love the numbers." You know, it's confusing to the average person as well.
I don't
because-
understand it. It's inexplicable. I feel like I am in an H.P. Lovecraft story where someone is trying to describe a horror that I can't comprehend.
Yeah, I read the article and I was like, "What? What's happening? Like, why is it? Why, David? Why?"
It's mostly because it is meaningless. Like, that's the most important thing, I think, to first off really highlight is that this thing, the stock market, the little line that goes up and down is so detached from our lived experience that it shouldn't be that shocking. That's the easiest answer, right?
Yeah.
The second easiest answer is income inequality is so rampant and our economy has become so automated and outsourced and financialized that there isn't really as strong of a connection between labor and capital like there used to be. In the old days, if there was a strike at the steel mill, the price of steel, like the stocks in steel would go down, right?
Mhm.
Maybe
yeah.
like there would be some issues with steel. If there's 14% unemployment all of a sudden, that is not exactly going to prove that Amazon is going to lose business.
Yeah, everything. Well, Yeah, everything for better or for worse back in the day, there was always at least one middleman, which was like a man in a field with a bunch of hay, being like, "I'm not giving you my fucking hay," and then people are like, "Oh no, I'm losing money on the damn hay futures."
Yeah, it was just there was a direct relationship between actions and what we call the economy. There's just like it's so interconnected that yes, some things matter, but there's so many factors that could happen all at once and just trigger a global meltdown or not. And the
Or not.
or not. You know, and the another big reason is the S&P 500 is largely made up of tech companies. And tech companies are doing well.
They love it, dude.
Like
They love it.
tech companies have been doing well through this crisis. You know, Zoom is way up, Amazon is killing it, Facebook is killing it, Google's killing it, all throughout this stuff because their consumers are still working from home. And all of us are using our stimulus money to get Amazon deliveries. And they are still paying Amazon workers a sub living wage, so they're still raking in the profits, man. I mean, they're busting up some unions. They're still soaring in
And
their stock value.
and all of the and Seamless and Grubhub and Yelp are all making money as well and gouging the restaurants. Like there was another on Twitter. There was a bill or like the ledger for a restaurant, and the restaurant, let's say, is raking in $2,000 a day or arbitrarily. I'm just going to throw out that number.
Okay.
It's making that much a day, but then like 30% of that is going to Grubhub or like whatever the Postmates app, whatever the app is, makes so much that the actual restaurant isn't really making anything, even though they are busy because deliveries are up.
Totally. I mean, it's a like kind of like a price gouging of people who have the platform, right? Like if
Right.
you own the platform and you are the only channel through which someone else can make money, then you can do whatever the hell you want with pricing stuff. Like exactly kind of like what you're saying. Same thing with like frankly with journalism for the past 10 years has been we have to listen to Twitter and Facebook and do whatever they tell us to do with our content because we cannot survive without their networks. And so it's kind of the same thing.
Well, here's a counter question for you. You talk about this Standard & Poor, this S&P 500. What about the dang old NASDAQ? Huh? That's another thing, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Is the NASDAQ doing good, or does it have less tech companies associated with it and it's just doing whatever?
Well, the NASDAQ is not an index of stocks. The NASDAQ is a stock exchange. So it is itself not any particular thing. It's a marketplace. It's like Italy for stocks.
I love Italy.
Okay.
I know you don't
guys-
like the food, but it's great.
For
It
people,
depends on what you want. There's like 20 different venues in there that you
Yep.
can
Yeah.
you can nosh at. So it's maybe you just went to a bad one.
Maybe I did. It was pretty good. It was good.
for people who don't know, Italy is a I would just call it an Italian themed buy whatever it's like a farmer's market for overpriced Italian food, right?
It's it's a food court for wealthy New York Manhattanites.
Or for tourists,
Yes.
really.
Yes.
Yes.
So NASDAQ
yeah, okay.
is like Italy.
And
yeah.
then wait, what? Okay, well, okay, then okay. If the Nasdaq is Italy, then what is the S&P if it's related to food?
So
Like think about it. Like let's make a good analogy here.
I see what you're saying.
know?
Okay, so imagine if NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange or the CBOE or the London Stock Exchange, these are all their own little Italys. Okay.
Yes.
And
yes.
what an index fund does is basically imagine if there was one restaurant in Italy whose only job was to make the best single dish from every other restaurant in Italy. They were like,
all right.
They were like the greatest hits within Italy. You could just go in to that restaurant every day, and they would have experts trying every single dish at every Italy, and they would say, today the pasta from this one little tiny little restaurant in Italy is making the best pasta. And then same thing with salad, same thing with salami, same thing with olive oils, and they would just have the kind of the best of at the moment, right? And
it is a curator's mixtape. It's constantly changing.
Mm-hmm,
yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah.
So that would be an index fund, basically. An index fund is something that you can invest in yourself. You can put your money in the S&P 500, and you can just say, I want it to follow, just invest in the biggest companies, and I want you to follow the biggest boys in town. I want you to follow McDonald's. I want you to follow PepsiCo. I want you to follow Exxon. I want you to follow, GE and 2 other companies, and that that'll have just a bunch of, and then but the 500 biggest companies in America are on the S&P 500, right?
Okay.
And the Dow Jones Industrial Average is it tracks 30 well-known companies that are traded on the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ. So it's a little bit smaller, the Dow Jones is, than the S&P 500, right? So it's an even more curated, curators list within the Italy community, right?
Okay. Maybe it's just like, the NASDAQ is Spotify and the S&P is a playlist. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's just a playlist. It's your little it's like it's like rap caviar, right?
Ugh.
Now, does the playlist change?
Yeah, because if the company falls, yes, in short, because companies change.
Yeah. Okay, interesting.
That's the easiest
if I
answer.
invest in the Standard & Poor's today, then is that a snapshot of just the companies that are hot today, and then tomorrow's S&P is a different portfolio that you can invest in?
I mean, maybe, but it's gonna be like around the margins where it's gonna change. I mean, Amazon isn't gonna go from number 1 to number 600 overnight,
Right.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, this is good. This is good because honestly, if we're being very honest, I really didn't know what these things were exactly before this. It is a bit, and I really just needed that very basic primer because, okay. So wait, does that mean that the S&P 500 was something else before there were tech companies in it?
Yes.
Like what?
Yes.
Okay.
When, and it's also the 500 best companies, right? So if your company hasn't gone public, then it can't be on the S&P 500.
Yeah.
Right. So before Facebook went public, obviously Facebook wasn't on the S&P 500, but now it is, and it's a big boy up there, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's probably also on the Dow Jones. I don't know about that honestly, but Apple, Walmart are going to be on the Dow Jones as well. The thing is that it's not just that the first to go back. The first reason was finance is completely disassociated from reality. 2,
yes,
some companies are thriving right now, actually, amid this coronavirus, and of those companies that are thriving, they're on the S&P 500 and basically carrying the index fund forward, and that's how well Amazon is doing right now, right? 3, when there's a really big crash, the couple weeks after are usually like technically amazing rebounds, but
yes,
it's like, if I'm just gonna draw a little line, like imagine it goes like this, really keeps going, and then keeps going, and then keeps going down. That's like what we've had over the past 2 months, and then it has like a crazy big V where it goes up twice. It's still way down, but it technically had the largest rebound since 1987, or the largest rebound since 1933. And if you hear if you hear anything about the economy with the words 1933, you know that means right in the middle of the Great Depression, and you should take it with a grain of salt.
Basically, it's the relative difference between a crash stock market's like someone whose heart is stopped, and they've got no brain function, and then you resuscitate them, and they're in terrible shape. But the difference between dead and slightly alive is a great rebound.
Yeah.
Or it's like, look, this guy can move half of his face. He's practically alive.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Or like when the media like heaps praise on Trump for doing something mildly presidential. Like
yeah.
even the smallest sliver of like, we're gonna come together and we're all gonna go to my hotel afterwards and suck each other's pussies or whatever he said, like. But they're like the first half of that sentence though, he sounded so presidential. That first half you could really hear it, and that is kind of like the stock rebound. That is just people overestimating how good it is.
Well, okay. So here's another thing. Should people? Okay, we should probably state right out front that David, Gabe, we do not have a fiduciary duty.
Hell no,
to you fucking people out there.
We ain't got fucking shit.
But like, yeah, but like, I guess my thing is like, what is it? What does it mean? Like, should I be worried right now? Should like people who have actual assets in the stock market be worried? I mean, are we like peering over the into the vast open maw of just like an actual economic depression?
Yes.
Or is it, or you immediately said yes.
There's no or. It is yes. I mean, also a huge amount of the reason why our economy is crashing, some people have been saying, is because our healthcare system is being overloaded, which I think says something a little bit about our healthcare industry, that it's almost like a
really?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, why has there been so much resistance to Medicare for all? Oh, we realize that like as soon as they start having to offer like free COVID relief, health insurance prices go down, and then the whole economy crashes because we've been like relying on healthcare blood money for our entire economy for a very long time. And
dark magic.
It is. And I think that I think it's going to be a very, very long time before our economy really recovers until we make some serious investments in human capital, actual like investments in human infrastructure. And that's why I am supporting everyone gets a free slave. That's what I meant by human. That's what I mean by human capital. Give them.
Yeah.
What do you mean by human capital? Well, what do you really mean by human capital?
I mean everyone gets a slave. Everyone gets a little slave. Just they are from Delaware, just a little Delaware slave, and they're all white. They're because we've learned our history. They're white slaves from Delaware, and that'll be it. That's going to be the thing. Yeah.
Woke slavery. I am. Intersectional slavery. I am about this queen.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know. I don't know. I mean, like, unless we have something like some real like Medicare for all, universal basic income, and a Green New Deal, I don't really see us coming out of any sort of this depression. There is going to be a depression.
Okay. There's going to be a depression.
We are already in a recession. I mean, there's 14% unemployment. 30 million people have filed for unemployment in the past 6 weeks. I mean, we are in a severe recession, more severe than the last one already. Whether that's a depression or not is a great question. At the height of the Great Depression, we were at 30% unemployment, and there are zero signs that we are letting up in our economic outlook for a while. I mean, especially because
okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
It is the only reason that people aren't in the streets killing their like landlords and eating them at like luau style barbecues, because just we're out of food, like Long Pig style, we need to eat these landlords. Is the only reason we're not doing that because we all have Netflix.
Dude, and honestly, some people are. It's like it's already that well has already begun to run dry. Like people are looking at the streaming services and they're just like, I don't want to watch the new Hollywood series on Netflix. I don't give a shit.
I'm not
Like,
watching the
fact-
Jordan documentary. You can't make me.
Yeah. Yeah, I will not watch Tiger King. And honestly, the only thing that has prevented a full-on revolt is people being like, but I do want to hear about Michael Jordan. And I do want to hear about the ascendancy of the 90s Bulls.
I will wait one more week. We have to wait. The revolution can't start until I finish this season of Better Call Saul.
Yeah. So okay. So you think a depression is going to happen or whatever? What is like the tipping point? What's the tipping point? Is it just sort of like lack of relief funds, or or just like people still not able to go to work again?
I mean,
or is it the stock market? Like, what is it?
I mean, think about this from a timeline perspective. November 1929 or October 1929 is when the Great Depression started, and between then and January of 1933. There was the Great Depression. There was like nothing happened, basically. There was
Dust bowls.
Yeah.
Human caravans.
That wasn't for a couple of years, but there was bread lines and there were labor strikes every week. And
Hoovervilles.
basically, the elites in the Democratic Party made a big bet on Roosevelt because they thought that unless they elected a progressive Democrat, there would be a communist revolution. And that is the only reason why Roosevelt got elected, is because there were strikes every single day. There were 30% unemployment. There were bread lines. And there was just constant labor unrest. And constant... basically, we got the people in power to finally be afraid of the people, right?
Yeah.
And I don't really see it happening there. Like, if you're asking me like what the tipping point is, I have no idea. The Americans are generally a pretty feeble and cowardly type. We're like, oh, I'm just gonna write my representative or whatever. Or like, I don't know. Just there's no real militancy of the working class in this country. So because we just constantly have this belief that democracy will cure everything. So there's not really like an immediacy like there was maybe in the in the outbreak of the Arab Spring in Tunisia or Egypt, right? Where they were like, "Oh, wow, 70% of the country is protesting me right now. I need to leave." Like I'm not sure if we can really do that. Also, America is an entire continent.
Yeah.
It's very diffused. Like, you keep bringing up the idea of a revolution, or not you, but like this idea of a revolution. I keep thinking, well, we don't even know who the right targets are. Like, I keep like, I think about Joe Biden being the DNC nominee, and I'm like, well, give me a list of the 10 people that need to pay for that. Like, who are the 10 people that are the most responsible for making that choice? Or, I think about the Women's March, and there were like a million women in pussy hats marching through the streets in D.C. But it's like, well, what if all of them had guns? Or like, what if they all? Who could you point that energy? What direction can that energy go into to actually affect change, as opposed to be a theatrical spectacle?
Great question.
That man, dude. Okay, I should mention to everybody, of course, that this is, of course, a satirical podcast. That being said, if somebody spontaneously combusted, who would it be best? Like, where they're just walking down the street and then just boom, they just explode. There's no detonation, or it's just like the alien monster splats out of their chest.
Peaceful.
And like, who?
Peaceful.
Yeah, I mean,
they're given the Nobel Prize right before they spontaneously combust. Yeah. Who?
Yeah, I mean, look, we all want it to be Henry Kissinger, but we already know that he's done the worst that he's already done. So, like, who is it actually?
Well, I wonder, to push back a little bit, Danny. I wonder if it's like, if every person is just a chess piece on the board. It's more like, okay, well, somebody's going to step into their place, right afterwards and keep maintaining the same policies, unless there's a new organization of people who are like, well, change is going to take more than me putting on this pink hat. Like,
yeah,
like
you
they-
can't just spontaneously combust somebody.
the people in the pink hats also have to be saying things like, we, whoever we put in next is going to advocate for more paid vacation time, more maternity and paternity leave,
Mhm.
Yeah.
more universal
Mhm.
health care.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are there? Yeah, I just don't even see enough advocates for that. But I'm an atomized person in my apartment in quarantine watching
Mhm.
Netflix,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm part of the problem.
Hey man, once once that Michael Jordan documentary stops, they better fucking watch their goddamn necks. All right, they better watch the fuck out. All right. Okay. Well. Okay. So
I mean, for me, Mitch McConnell, I don't really think that there's anyone. I mean, him and Benjamin Netanyahu, those are like probably two like elected officials that I hate more than anyone in the world.
yeah.
But really, that's because Benjamin Netanyahu borrowed my GameCube one time and he totally fucked up the drive. But that's a separate thing. But I mean, both of those men have so much more blood on their hands than Trump. So I would say one of those two, if not both.
Yeah, actually, the funniest part about that is you don't get down to the first 100 or 200 or 300 people. Joe Biden is like the last on the list of spontaneous combustion because he just happens to be in this position where he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be your guy, Jack. But like he has he's the ultimate puppet. So it's like no. Joe Biden spontaneously combusting, that means nothing. You got to get to the actual source.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I like Joe better than Pete, so whatever.
What I think
Sure,
is
sure.
crazy about Joe is, like, imagine he's old, right? So, like, no matter what, he's either going to die in office or die very soon after this campaign. And to think that you're wasting your twilight years in this weird power grab when you stand for
Oh.
nothing.
Stand for nothing.
Dude, he could be fucking giving back rubs to his niece. I mean,
He could he'd be like, "Can you guys just put me out to pasture where there's a bunch of little kids that can pour water all over my hairy legs?"
dude, honestly, as long as there was another lifeguard around, I would love Joe Biden to be the lifeguard at the fucking Delaware pool. Like, it's just like, hey, why are you running around there? Right? You trying to cause trouble? Like,
Yeah.
I would
love that.
I would want Joe Biden. I don't know why I thought of this, but I would want Joe Biden. I don't even know if this is a job, but like to massage injured horses. I think that like this horse has like a sprained ankle, and like Joe Biden is like a massage therapist for horses.
Dude, he would be an amazing horse whisperer, just like, whoa, hey, whoa, whoa.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, hey, where you going? Where you going?
Goldeneye, what are you doing there? You know, like,
Yeah, the horse is just like, yeah, I don't like
Bad touch.
I don't like this.
Bad touch.
You smell nice, boy. You smell nice. Let me. Would you like some oats and some apple cubes? Yeah.
Yeah. This horse is
a good
like 10 hands long, this horse. Joe, we don't measure it in your hand. Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, speaking of that guy who might have allegedly raped that lady, what was the next thing on the list?
So oil is really weird right now, and I think that
tangentially related to the stock market, kind of.
It is. I mean, that's another reason why like the economy is crashing so hard is because oil is doing poorly, right? And because basic understanding of the problem, right? Production of oil is happening to meet the oil needs of the world in February of 2020, right? That's what production was. That included the big players in that were Canada, United States, Saudi Arabia, Russia. Those are the big boys doing oil, right? On top of that, there was also Norway, Venezuela, Nigeria. Those are a couple of other ones, but really it was those 4. And the UAE is more of a distributor, but they have some oil fields as well. A little bit of Iran, a little bit of Iraq. And then, but they, all of a sudden in March, because of quarantining, no one's traveling. No one's using oil. No businesses are really open. Airlines are empty. Cruise ships are empty. There's no need for jet fuel. There's no need for car oil. There's no need for gasoline. So all of a sudden, Trump in last month was trying to negotiate basically some sort of unilateral or some bilateral scaling back production from Russia and Saudi Arabia. He was trying to negotiate this thing where basically they were kind of playing chicken with each other because they wanted to have they both knew that they needed to draw down their oil supply to keep the price high. Okay? Because if there's too much supply and low enough demand, then you just have this whole glut of oil that nobody wants, and so price is going to drop.
And where are you going to warehouse all those barrels, man?
Precisely. So what ended up happening was Trump failed because this is actually the first time that he's actually been unsuccessful in anything in his entire life. So
yeah.
So he
What are you talking about?
He unsuccessfully could not get Russia and Saudi Arabia to reduce their oil production fast enough. And the United States, he also would not invoke, the Defense Production Act or whatever to get these oil companies to stop producing oil. And as a result of that, the price of oil just went so far down. And there was just so much oil in reserves in these tankers that it actually became more expensive to keep the oil in the tanker than it would be just to get rid of it. So that's why they actually ended up, the price of oil for one day, like a couple weeks ago, was negative. They were literally,
and the price of storage units went through the roof.
Hey, yeah.
The guy at Manhattan Mini Storage was like, "This is how I win." Yes. Yeah. A little bit of anecdotal evidence for that too, as well. I was making some decals for my friend who builds bicycles, and he's like, "Oh yeah, if you get that to me before Tuesday, that would be good. I'm actually going on a road trip." And I was like, "Oh, really?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to go drive to New Mexico." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, dude, gasoline is so cheap right now. Like
Whoa.
it is it is incredibly cheap."
He's like, I'm going to get on my hog and just listen to Bad to the Bone the whole way.
I love the Doppler effect of Bad to the Bone, just like
Dude, yeah, man. I don't know. I associate road trips with Credence, and I don't know whether they supported big oil or not, but I still think of Credence on any road. That's the song that came to my head. Anyways, basically what this is doing is this is really ruining a lot of things. Everyone's in trouble. Everyone's scared. It's ruining the stock market. There are entire regions of the country that are completely reliant on oil, and they're in trouble, man. Like if you have an entire economy devoted to one resource, everyone's going to lose their job. Everyone, right?
Oh, wait. Okay. Let me take a guess here. I don't know if you know the answer. I would say Houston and the Gulf. Am I right?
Yep.
Yes.
So there's also, most of Texas, honestly. Like,
yeah.
There's just it's bad right now. There's just a huge. I can't really say it any other way. That's just how many people are going to lose their jobs. Basically, what I see right now is there's the oil industry in West Texas. There have been 10,000 people who have already been furloughed in Midland and Odessa. 4 times as many people might ultimately lose their jobs. This is from the New York Times. And that's ridiculous. Like that is just a huge, and then those people can't afford to like go to restaurants. Those people can't afford to see a doctor. Those people can't afford to do anything, right? I mean, it is going to everyone ultimately relied on that source of revenue to be stable for everyone else's job to function. I mean, there is
that they were the oil was the cornerstone economic, the foundation is what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like how beavers, the beaver that makes the dam that lets all the fish that turns the stream into a pond.
Yeah.
Dude, I have the population of Odessa, Texas right in front of me. I have not looked at it yet. It cannot be no more than 50,000. I'm going to look at it right now and tell you how much there actually are of people in Odessa, Texas.
Okay.
The population of Odessa, Texas, which is in Midland County, is 120,000 people in the city. So
10,000 people have already lost their job. I mean, there is, in addition to the unemployment in other sectors of the city, there is an additional 10%. Add that onto everybody else. So, I mean, there is like 10%. So oil from this region supports 10% of the Texas economy. It's really, really, really going to hurt a lot of vulnerable people, right? I mean, this is not going to hurt oil executives. This is going to hurt normal ass people who, just work on a rig, work in a refinery, work in transportation, work at whatever, all this sort of stuff. And this just came out today, actually. Shell has a dire warning for oil markets. This is from Shell's earnings call. So an earnings call, basically every quarter, a big company has to give an earnings call. They have to disclose how much money they're making, how they're doing, and give like a little report to their shareholders. And
yeah.
They had an earnings call. This CFO said investors that there's going to be major demand destruction that we don't even know will come back. They're saying that this could.
That's not good.
Yeah, there's like this could just never, ever, ever come back. And this is also Shell. This is the first time that Shell gave out a dividend. And a dividend, if you guys aren't fully aware what it is it's when a shareholder just gets a bonus, right? It's when the company.
Yeah, I've heard of dividend.
Okay, yeah. So it's just.
I've played Monopoly.
Yeah, if you own money in a stock, it's just when the company just decides to give you a little bit of, just a little treat,
a little taste,
around.
A little taste, slice of salami,
a little slice.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So they are giving out their first dividend cut since the 1940s.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
wait.
Yeah.
Wait, so I'm okay. Tell me if I'm talking out of school here. Is the reason they're doing that because up until like since the 1940s, they've just been Big Dick Shell walking around slinging their hog everywhere, like I'm Big Dick Shell. Look at me go. And because of this, of this gigantic petroleum crash or whatever, like. Hey, Big Dick Shell here. Just wanted to give you a little treat. Don't worry. Nothing bad is going to happen in the future. All right. I'll see you later.
Well, it's because everyone, yeah. And everyone wants to get the hell, like sell their Shell stocks. Like you do not want those stocks right now. They are so low in value that because those sorts of industries are just hit so goddamn hard. Like you don't want to have Shell, you don't want to have Carnival Cruises, you don't want to have any airline stocks. These are things that are hurting very, very badly. And this is also from the CEO of Shell. It's bracing for its worst case scenario that demand will never fully recover. I think a crisis like this has the potential to capitalize society into a different way of thinking, much as the Paris Agreement has, like the Paris Climate Agreement.
Yeah,
they are expecting an L-shaped recovery.
What?
Basically, there's different ways that the sacred line can move, right? It goes down, and then it could do like a V. It jumps back up really fast. Or it could be like
okay.
a U and slowly come back up, Or it can be an L, which is what the CEO of the company is predicting, that it's going to go down and just stay down.
Oh, God. Jesus.
I
man.
like to call that a flat line.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
That's really wild. I mean, we did just talk about like the proliferation of green energy last week. Dude, I mean, hey, you could take this Danny prediction to the bank. Those people, they're gonna be fucking jumping over to that industry right quick in the next 5-10 years.
Yerp.
Yeah.
It's
It's gonna be a big move. Big move.
And then there's gonna be like all sorts of fraud that goes on in both.
Uh-huh.
You're gonna find like there's going to be some greenwashing, as we have discussed, right? There's gonna be like some like Shell spinoff. It's gonna be like, oh, we're a solar company, but you look at the solar panels and they're actually just like secret. They have drills that are underneath them that are secretly drilling for oil,
Yeah.
or something like that, or like a wind turbine that's actually just spinning natural gas. They just like found a way to like harness cow farts into the wind turbine. So there's going to be all sorts of greenwashing. We're going to realize like after the entire oil industry collapses, there's going to be all these things that are called derivative lawsuits, basically, where the shareholders sue the company. There's going to be a lot of that sort of stuff, and they're going to have some lawsuits that have been like, you didn't do this right, you mismanaged the company, you've violated your duty of loyalty, you totally were bad at your job. And that'll come out, and it'll be fun to watch, guys. It's going to be fun to watch the oil industry sink. I'm just excited for it. That's one thing that I look forward to.
Yeah, dude. I love these oil. I'm gonna absolutely relish the oil purists. So like a 5'5" man wearing like a fucking cowboy hat the size of a Honda Fit, just walking down the street like
well, you tarnation, I'll never get up on this oil. This oil's been pushing my marriage for the last 70 years.
like I love, dude. I'm gonna love to see that guy.
Yeah, what I want to see is like the Daniel Plainview from There Will Be Blood for the
yeah.
I want to meet that guy for the wind industry. I want to meet like the blood-sucking psychopathic killer who's like building all the wind developments in eastern Colorado or whatever, and he's just killed hundreds of men with a bowling pin.
Yeah, the There Will Be Blood Part 2. This time more fans.
But it's Paul Dano who's playing the wind energy guy instead of the preacher, right?
The Mighty Wind.
Ooh.
I suck your wind. Yeah. I suck your wind. I suck it right up. God, dude, there's gonna be so many crazy, and the worst part is it's just gonna be like fucking boners wearing polo shirts, being just acting effortlessly cruel. Man, I mean, that's what Elon Musk is. Elon Musk is a semi-smart individual who fucking stepped in it and now is like holding on to it, and like all the while it's just like, yeah, I fucked Grimes in our special like sex bean bag. Like he's just he's like, why do these fucking nerds hold so much power?
What I want is like Grimes to be like, to write a song about Elon Musk, about like how hot he is, and then like have like one funny line, and then someone like be like, Grimes, I just lost $20,000 because of that lyric in these stocks.
Yeah. Dude, he fucking. I think one of these days we'll have to talk about shorting stocks, because I love the people. I love Tesla as a stock because it's crazy. It does crazy shit where it was like below $300 less than like 3 months ago, and then it jumped up to $900.
Jesus.
And then just dipped right back down to $400, and now went back up to $700. It's like a heart attack of a stock to watch.
Fuck, man.
Love a good stock on a yo-yo diet.
Yes.
Man.
But anyways,
okay.
yeah,
So what else do we have to talk about? So Social Security, the Social Security Trust Fund is in trouble, right? There's just because everyone is right. How does Social Security come about? Payroll taxes. Okay.
yes.
Everyone's losing their job. The Social Security fund, the little trust fund that's holding Social Security, and when the thing that keeps all our money that we put in our into Social Security that we will be able to start getting back when we're 65, that's going to go bankrupt, or that's going to just be in serious trouble as a result of the COVID depression. Is there a name for this depression yet? I think I just coined it.
I think the pandemic or coronavirus. We haven't really gotten we've gotten a couple names from this so far.
Are we in the corona doldrums right now?
Yeah. I think coronavirus is probably. I think that's what's gonna stick. COVID is, people use that occasionally, but yeah, nothing kind of rolls off the tongue quite like coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's like that meme. All the 3%ers and all the libertarians they're gonna be using that meme of that guy where he's just sort of like, don't have to worry about paying Social Security taxes if there ain't no jobs, and then he's doing this thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's when you sent me that, it was something that I had never even thought of, because I was like, oh yeah, you can't fill that big ass fund if there's no jobs.
Right. There ain't nothing. There's nothing, man. So they're saying that what this group is called, the Bipartisan Policy Center. I don't know who they are. That sounds creepy. I didn't look up who they were before this, but they said that it is preliminary, but it could be that the Old Age and Survivor Insurance Trust could be depleted by 2029, and the Disability Insurance Trust Fund by 2024, even sooner. That is, if this economic situation will be as severe as the Great Recession. Okay.
Ugh.
That is, if it's as bad as things were. And it's going to be worse, guys. It's got to be. It's just.
Oh my God. When you were like, David, will it be bad? Yes. It's just no hesitancy.
I know. I can't. We were already on thin ice before this. There was just so much debt, government debt, corporate debt, and privately held debt before coronavirus hit, that we thought that we were going to, last September, there was rumblings of a recession hitting, and because everyone was just like, this is just going to keel over. But really what it ended up being is more like a powder keg, and then the coronavirus was just lighting the powder keg. I don't really see how we can recover from this very soon. I really just don't.
Yeah.
There's just going to be so many people that are going to die. Also, I'm sorry, this episode has very little to do with white collar crime, and sorry about that. But I really don't see how we're gonna. There already have been so many people that have died, and so many people will continue to die as these states continue to reopen. That is going to severely, that's going to kill and hurt so many people's lives. It will also severely contract our economy. Okay, the first time that China's economy really had a big shrink since the 80s was when the one-child policy generation came into the workforce. Okay, less
because
people,
they didn't have enough people.
Yeah, less people is bad for the economy. We will never fully recover from this. If we do, we will just need there was just going to have to be a severe movement of capital and resources and structural change of how this government works, guys, of how our economy works.
Wow.
I don't know.
Very interesting.
I don't know. Wabba dabba doo.
Well, wasn't the end of the Great Depression was the World War?
Mm-hmm.
So is that kind of the I don't want to say it's like a positive thing, because it's not, but is that kind of in government's playbooks to just start a war to get rid of excess people, give people jobs, and get an economy up and running.
That's actually I'm reading. I mean, a little bit of a preview for the future, but I'm rereading the Shock Doctrine right now, and yeah, that's what fucking old. What's her face? Why am I forgetting
Naomi
her name?
Klein.
Naomi Klein.
No. The Prime Minister of England.
Margaret Thatcher.
In the 80s. Margaret Thatcher. That's what Margaret Thatcher did with the fucking Falkland Islands. Is everything? It's like everything she was doing was wildly unpopular, and then she did a crazy nationalist thing where Argentina was like, no, these are ours now, because they were still a military junta, and then they were like, and now we nationalize behind this gigantic, incredibly important thing, the Falkland Islands. Oh, and they're also, and the federal government is already jumping towards the demonization of China. I mean, obviously there was the demonization of China when this was all first happening, but now they're actually putting it on blast, where they're like, no, this came from a lab, and everyone's like, where's the evidence? And they're like, I can't tell you. And then every other independent source is like, yeah, it almost certainly didn't come from that. They're like, no, we definitely need to have an armed conflict with a nation of several billion people. We need to do that. We definitely need to do that.
Are you telling me that Tucker Carlson said something misleading?
No, dude, he's my god. I love him. I love the bow tie god. I'll never leave him.
What's he the fortune of? He's like the child of like pretzels or something, isn't he? Like a pretzel. Like, he's like I don't remember what he's like the heir to, I don't know, like knickknacks for pretzels. It's knickknacks for pretzels. It's toys for food. It's something really fucking arbitrary, and I can't remember what it is. But yeah, I mean, I guess we could start a war. I mean, it would cut the labor supply, right? You'd kill all these 18 to 35-year-olds.
And give people a reason to use oil.
Yep.
Also, coronavirus is blasting out our aged population too. A lot of people who are dying of it are still quite old.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's their whole thing, where it's like, no, don't. Again, going back to that meme, just like, no, you don't have to pay people Social Security if they're fucking dead. All right,
Oh God. Oh, and then last thing that I guess we want to talk about. We don't have much time.
Sure.
And I want to talk about Amazon. I know we wanted to talk about how Amazon is scooping up its data from its own sellers to launch competing products. And basically, I mean, what that is an anti-competitive activity, right? And
yeah,
which is exactly what it sounds like. That could be something that would be a violation of our antitrust laws, but it probably won't be, because our antitrust laws are not really enforced.
Yeah, this is the thing that I actually mentioned, I think last week or maybe the week before, where you're right. It is it like on its face, and if we were in a different era, it would be one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, this is fucked. This is fucked and stupid, and you have to stop doing that. But inevitably, the argument that Amazon and Jeff Bezos will use is like, no, you don't understand. We're doing this because we're obsessed with our customers, and we're obsessed with good prices for them. Because like Amazon's not wrong in the sense that they will copy what your whatever little tote that you made, just like, and make their own. But because they have such a vast distribution network and resources on their side, they will make that tote like $3 cheaper, which is technically good for the customer, even though it is wildly bad for society as a whole,
Right. And the funny thing is, a lot of customers are also workers. So if you pay people low wages, then they can't actually afford to buy the thing, even though it seems like it's very, very cheap. Like, if you have a class stratification where there are workers who are getting paid very, very little, but those workers also are going to want to buy things as well. Like, when you pay people well, workers become consumers, right?
Yeah.
That was the Ford theory, which is, if you pay, like, I'm going to make sure that all of my employees can afford a Ford car, right? That was his kind of business ethos. And it was smart because he created an entire new consumer base, basically,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And eventually, if every single big company does the Amazon business model where they just pay people very, very, very low wages, eventually you're just going to run out of consumers.
So then you can only market luxury products to a very small elite.
Yes. Something like that.
Yeah.
And everyone else
Yeah, or-
lives in a shanty town or hovel. And you keep thinking that there's a mythical consumer that's somewhere abroad in a
Yeah.
country that has a greater safety net and a vibrant middle class.
Yep.
Yeah, you can do that, and you can also be like, hey, look, we can either pay you your wages, or we could give you an entire crate of Amazon Basics Bic pens. And then, hey man, you just you take the pens, you put them in the regular Bic boxes. All right, you got a stew on your hands. It's gonna be a situation where they make their own script.
Yeah, what if they have their own nightmare general store model where it's like you can either get paid in wages, cash, or you can get paid in an Amazon gift card that works for any of the Amazon products that are the like bootleg products. So you could live,
Yeah.
you could subsistence live off of just Amazon generics.
Damn. Bleak.
Yeah,
man.
actually, apparently, we'll have to look into this a little bit more in the future. But apparently, Jeff Bezos in like a press release said something like Amazon had a windfall of $4 billion in profit or whatever, since coronavirus has happened, because obviously they're making a killing right now. But he said he was going to reinvest it all into like worker stuff. So like keep an eye out on that. See what he's going to do, because he will not. Or if he does it, it'll be in a sneaky, backhanded way,
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, just keep an eye out for Jeff Bezos. It's not that hard. He's a reflective man these days.
So
And he's accompanied by a robot dog. So he'll be able to see him.
Yeah.
Ew.
Ugh.
So I wanted to talk about one more thing before we go, and that is
Sure.
an Amazon vice president and distinguished engineer at Amazon Web Services quit because Amazon fired some union activist in Staten Island.
Really?
That's
Yeah.
right.
It's
Shout
just-
outs to those union organizers.
Yeah, shout out to the union organizers. Shout out, what was his name? Chris? Is that right? And-
I can look it up, but yeah.
You know what?
Well-
What I love about this is that we didn't even pretend to look this up beforehand.
Whoa, wait.
We're
Wait,
honest to
So,
listeners.
explain this a little further, because I didn't hear about this. So there was a guy who worked at Amazon who was involved in a union already.
So there
Or
are
he had.
Well, the guy who organized the union is Christian Smalls.
yes.
He was
Okay.
organizing strikes, and they had a whole PR campaign against him. Internal memos show that this is not the story. This is the backstory, and they really wanted to paint him as not smart or articulate. And I've heard him in interviews, and he's awesome. So shout outs to Chris Smalls. He got fired from the job.
It
But
was-
this other guy that Dave is talking about is totally different.
So this guy is
Okay.
named Tim Bray. This vice president. So there was the warehouse workers in Staten Island that were talking about the working conditions at Amazon. An announcement sent to internal mailing lists on Friday, April 10th, was apparently the flashpoint. Emily Cunningham and Marin Costa, two of these organizers, were fired on the spot that day. Those were also some people. The justifications were laughable. I'm reading directly from an open letter that Tim Bray wrote in response to him quitting at Amazon. He said, the justifications were laughable. It was clear to any reasonable observer that they were turfed for whistleblowing. Management could have objected to the event or demanded that outsiders be excluded or that leadership be represented or any number of other things. There was plenty of time. Instead, they just fired the activists.
Which is illegal.
Yes.
But they definitely were just sort of like, oh, you were 5 minutes late,
Yeah. So there's a couple other activists that were people. Courtney Bowden Gerald Bryson, Marin Costa, Emily Cunningham, Bashir Muhammad, and Chris Smalls, including Chris Smalls. This is something kind of funny that he says, here are some descriptive phrases you might use to describe the activist firing. Chicken shit. Kill the messenger. Never heard of the Streisand effect. Designed to create a climate of fear. Like painting a sign on your forehead saying either guilty or has something to hide. Which do you like? This is just directly from this guy. And he says, Amazon's messaging has been urgent that they are prioritizing this issue and putting massive efforts into warehouse safety. He says, I actually believe this. I've heard detailed descriptions from people I trust of the intense work and huge investments. Good for them. Let's grant that you don't turn a super tanker on a dime. But he believes the worker testimony as well. At the end of the day, the big problem isn't the specifics of the COVID-19 response. It's that Amazon treats the humans in the warehouses as fungible units of pick and pack potential.
They're like fuel cells with heartbeats.
Only that's not just Amazon. Yeah. It's how the 21st century capitalism is done.
Yeesh, that guy. I mean, it is kind of weird how he kind of takes like a both sides thing where it's like, no, they really have improved on this too. Just like, come on, dude, stop being a chicken shit. Just call them bad. Call them bad and let's be done with it.
He did call them chicken shit as well.
He did.
Yeah, I mean, he really, yeah, man, it's a pretty wild letter. And I salute him for quitting. I think he's doing the right thing. This is what people of good, if there are anyone who is an executive in a higher place of power and calls themselves or considers themselves a liberal, this is what you do. This is what being a liberal looks like. This is not what necessarily this isn't like the beginnings of a revolution. This is just what like a bourgeois liberal of good conscience should do, in my opinion. Don't you guys think so?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I actually, it's kind of an interesting point because it's acknowledging like it's going to be essentially somewhat inadequate, but at least you're saying something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah,
just doing anything.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
Well, I'm sure we'll have a lot more horror stories coming out of Amazon in the future on episodes of Ponzi Scream.
Oh God! Oh my goodness! They're gonna keep coming back. Watch again. Make sure your robot dog is trained on Jeff Bezos. Make sure to illegally fly drones in New York City. The cops hate that. Yeah.
God. Well, boys, keep flying your illegal drones in the sky. I salute you, and I salute salute all the activists out there, and I guess
let's all get antibody tests. Let's go give our blood and have it sold by whoever we give the blood to the highest bidder in Big Pharma. And let's not get a dime off of that.
Yeah. What's the over under on me being antibody positive? How you guys think I had it?
Dude, I think if you had it, I would drain you of your blood and sell it on the black market.
Yeah,
nice.
At $40,000 a milliliter.
I'm gonna actually donate it to Aetna because I feel bad. Blue Cross Blue Shield must be really hurting them a lot. So I'm just gonna give it straight to the people who need it the most, the health insurance companies.
Hey man, that's the best you can do in this situation, David.
All right. Well, I'm David. This has been Ponzi Scream.
Yeah, this is Gabe Pacheco over here. Thank you so much for listening.
As Danny, my blood is for sale. Be positive.
All right.
Be positive.
All right.
All right.
Good night. Love you. Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.